What up, Wizards? Yes, I'm wearing the same shirt as yesterday. I really like this shirt. Get off my back. Now, it's the weekend, which means that Wizards is taking a little break from spoilers, taking a little nap. So you think I would too. But no, I actually really want to keep talking about this new set. So we're going to do something a little bit different today. See, since we're at about the halfway point-ish of spoiler season right now, I figured it'd be a good time to sit back and relax and ruminate and reflect on what our favorite cards are up to this point. Not necessarily like the top 10 most powerful cards in the set. They're going to wreck every format, or like the top 10 sleepers and cards people aren't talking about. We'll get to all that once the full set is spoiled. Today, I just kind of want to talk about like the top 10 cards I'm looking forward to playing with the most. So let's do that. And I'm your favorite Magic Channel's favorite Magic Channel. Best believe that the professor go bananas for my deck tech. And we're back, I guess. Kind of felt like an abrupt intro theme break there. I never really know when it's coming. But yeah, I had to pick 10 cards that I'm looking forward to playing with from this set. And it was actually kind of tough not to pick 10 cards. It was tough not to pick 20 cards because the set looks just bonkers so far. But I think I was able to nail down 10 cards that I think hit that good level of like excitement, but not like overly powerful, except for maybe one or two of them. So let's go ahead and get started. With number 10, it's Quintorius. Good to see this dude back. I always kind of had a soft spot for Quincy, and he looks much better this time. Now, he costs 5 mana, which is a lot, but so does every other card in the set, apparently, so it's not that big of a deal. Now, you might be thinking, hey, Dev, don't want to embarrass you, so I'm just going to pull you to the side here. Hey, Dev, I don't know if you know this, but we actually already have like a 5-mana legend in Standard that can recast spells from your graveyard, and it's like way better than that. It's Lear. It's Lear, Disciple of the Drowned. Yeah, it's a really good card. Just much better than Quintorius at what it's trying to do, right? But Quintorius can do one key thing that Lear can't do, and that's recast counter spells, sort of, out of your graveyard. It does take a little bit of setup, but I can imagine that if they have a Quintorius that's not like summoning sick anymore, and they've exiled a Dissipate or something like that, suddenly they get to attack you for like 6 the turn after this comes into play, because they have the token too, right? And they have counterspell up. That's so annoying. Like against a control opponent, imagine a situation where they resolve this. You don't meet the window to kill it before they can untap with it and start using it, right? And then you don't resolve a spell for the rest of the game. And the whole time they're getting an extra 3/2 every single turn. And just beating your face in. You don't really have long to answer this outside of the initial window if they can keep exiling stuff. Because they're just going to have like 9, 12 power on the table within a couple of turns. Like, again, this has a very small window to be answered. If it's not, you probably die to it. He's doing a lot more damage than it might look like in a pretty short amount of time. So I don't know why this guy wasn't actually a little bit farther up on the list. I'm obviously super excited about Elephant Guy. So Quintorius, I'm telling you, he's better than he looks. Not a sleepers list, but better than he looks, because I can't wait to like try some stuff out with this guy. Jeskai, like counter spells, control, blah, blah. That's one thing. But there's also just like Mardu good stuff spells and all kinds of stupid garbage. So I can't wait to try the dude. Number 9, finally, another card. I was going to talk about Quintorius for 30 seconds, and then I did what I did there. But anyway, number 9 is Guardian of Girapur. What a simple, elegant, beautiful, annoying card. There are reasons why some of the cards on the list are like all the way up here at like 9, you know. And in this case, one of those reasons is because I actually think this card is like very good, and I will be annoyed by it in no time. But for the time being, I'm like pretty excited about getting to try some stuff with this, right? Like there's tons of cool repeatable enter the battlefield triggers in Standard that you can mess around with, but there's obviously like prototype too, you know, like in the Angels deck, this wants to go in with Giada and all the other stuff. Like there's stuff like Sanctuary Warden that this can flicker. You get more ETB triggers off of, and that feels okay, right? But I think also importantly, you get Steel Seraph in that deck, which is a prototype creature. So sucks they're at the same spot on the curve, but if you have them both out, you can just flicker your Steel Seraph, right, when this comes into play, and end up getting the bigger version of Steel Seraph, which is kind of nice. You can do that with all the prototype dudes, and it's a cool little trick. Just a fair sorcery speed, decently statted thing with a nice keyword ability that does one of the, I was going to say most underrated, but that's not true. Everybody loves flickering stuff. Just like one of the most fun things you can do in a game of Magic. It's really great to experience when you're doing it, but when it happens to you, it's not so much, but still. I imagine this is going to happen to me a lot more than I do it, and it'll eventually wear me down and I'll start to hate the card. But for now, it's still fresh and I love it. Now, number 8 is an invasion, and so are 7 and 6. I only let myself put 3 invasions on the list. Which is weird because I didn't think any would end up on the list when I first saw them. It's like, to be honest, in making a list like this, I would not think that I would have to worry about how many battles do I put on this thing. I'm not going to spend too long on this. It'll take all night. Should make my own just a standalone video about battles and how I feel. But like ultimately, I think battles are. Let me put it this succinctly. I still haven't come all the way around to the concept of battles yet, and I'm not sure that I will, and I think it might get worse once I actually have to play with or against them. So I'm just not entirely sold on these yet, but some of them look really cool. Now, the reason that Innistrad is over here at number 8, kind of the same reason that Guardian's at number 9, right? This actually looks too powerful, and it's going to grind me down, and I will hate it within like 3 weeks. But for now, I think this is stupid powerful. I've seen some people in like the Spikes subreddit say this is a little underwhelming and blah blah, but I don't believe that for a second. This has flash. The problem here's the game state that's going to occur with this card like a good bit of the time. And I think it's actually disgusting. At the end of your opponents, like turn 4, you get to kill their Shieldred or just whatever, their biggest thing on the table. You kill that, EOT, instant speed, and then you immediately get to untap and swing into the battle without your opponent having known that that was a thing they had to worry about. You know what I mean? In the early days of New Standard, I think that might be just a crushing blow, right? Because what's going to happen is you lose your biggest guy end of the turn. You had no idea any of this was about to take place. You lose your biggest guy end of turn. And now suddenly your opponent can swing in with the Evolved Sleeper, Tenacious Underdog, Graveyard Trespasser, some combination of these things, and take down the battle. So this basically means that you'll lose your biggest guy, and almost immediately your opponent will also get two creatures. They'll get 4 power. And you lose a guy. This was 4 mana at instant speed, okay? And I think this will actually happen a good bit of the time. And eventually, I said the early days of Standard for a reason there. Eventually, I think people are going to fear this at the end of the turn or during the combat step in the same way they fear like a Wandering Emperor when there's 4 white mana up. And then it can get you more power and mess around with graveyards and stuff. All that is just seriously good. And it can all happen in the blink of an eye. End of turn, if you don't have enough guys to block or you just had like no creatures out at the beginning of your turn, you play one big guy. Your opponent has like 2 dudes out, you're done. You're cooked. Like basically, they're going to kill your one guy, swing in on the battle, get 4 power, feel good about it. And if you somehow sweep them or deal with that 4 power plus the dudes they already had, they just put more power on the table. What do they care? Like the card, I think, is actually like sort of intensely extremely good. But I'm banking on the idea that I'm one of the only people that realizes how amazingly good the card is for the first week of Standard. And then eventually I'll feel the same way I do about like Invoke Despair, maybe. But I'm calling this one. I actually think this is one of the most disgusting cards in the set so far. But number 7 is Invasion of Tolvata. Yeah, I love the card, dude. This is just an easier to cast Invoke Justice, basically, for this format. I mean, I guess it says like non-battle permanent. I don't care. I don't care. It does not matter. So I can get a Kaya out of my graveyard with this, or a Portal Phyrexia, or whatever I want. It doesn't matter. It's a huge dude. You know what I mean? So this I love as a reanimation piece that doesn't really tax mana bases nearly as much as Invoke Justice. And you don't get the counters, but I also don't care. So whatever. Getting counters is nice and all that, but like, whatever. And then once it actually does flip over, if it ever does, it doesn't have to. Let me point that out. This doesn't have to flip over to be like just righteously, stupidly good. So there's that. But if you do flip it over, it's kind of like a flipped over wedding announcement. Like it comes into play already flipped over, you know what I mean? Like already kind of giving you the anthem effect. And it never stops giving you dudes. You give it a dude every single turn. So I actually think that in and of itself is pretty good on the back half too. And again, it's going to make those Wandering Emperor tokens 3/2s, and it's going to give you a flyer every turn, 2/1 flyer. It's going to make the wedding announcements eventual 3/2s. You know, Eternal Wanderer tokens are going to be like just hugely buff with double strikes. So just like, yeah, back half is I think like worth actually trying to get a good bit of the time, especially if you're at the point in the game where you have some tokens, but not enough tokens to alpha yet. You know, this will help you get there and just like get past sweepers and all that kind of stuff. Just a solid card on the back half, but the front half, 5 mana, whatever permanent besides a battle that you want, like that's juicy. As I've seen on the back of pants before, it's pretty juicy. But I like the card. I don't love all these battles, but this is one that I like. But my last battle that I want to highlight in this video is probably nowhere near as strong as the other two that I've already shown you. And that's actually kind of why it's sort of higher up on the list, is that I like role players that aren't like obviously broken, but they bring an aspect to a deck that is sorely needed and sews up some holes that are there and blah, blah, whatever. I'm talking about, what is even the name of the stupid plane? Ergomon? It sounds like a Digimon thing, you know. Anyway, number 6 is Invasion of Ergomon, which is actually stupid on its front half. You never have to flip this over. If you do flip it over, it can go get another copy of itself, which I think is kind of cute. You know, just go get another and then another when that one flips over, and it's silly. So you go get a battle, but getting a land, also pretty good. Ooh, I don't know, man. I actually think this is really sweet in potentially a Jund Reanimator deck that's trying to reanimate a Traxa or some other thing, you know. So just a big fan, just a giant fan of this card, if you can't tell. I really, really like it. You could even do Naya Reanimator with a card like this for the same reasons, you know. Just whichever spell you like that has Reanimator spells in it, whether it be black or white, just staple it onto this and there you go. So just a very cool little card, man. I like everything it brings to the table for just a super low price of 2 mana. And again, you never have to flip it over, but if you do, 3/4 body that gives you some card advantage. Like, what else do you want for 2 mana? It's a fine card. Now, number 5, as we hit the midway point of the list already, well, is Italy. And it's not, let's go ahead and show you the back half of this. The 11/11 like trample indestructible. If it deals combat damage, it hits for that much poison, and yeah, it could end the game, and it's ridiculous. Just wait, if you haven't seen the back half of this, it's honestly hilarious. But I'm not even concerned with the back half. Just take it away. Get out of there. The front half of this, if you can reanimate it, while we're talking about Reanimator, right? I know that Atraxa is in the format, and that's like the thing, right? Atraxa puts the cards in your hand, and it puts a bunch of them. You know, I like cards, but whatever. This puts the cards like just onto the table and you just cast the cards. That's really good. And you're guaranteed not to whiff on it either. Like, it hits non-lands or whatever every time. That's wonderful. So like, you might get like extra creatures out of it. You might play creature removal spell. You might hit something gross. Just kind of a silly looking card to me that I think a lot of people have glossed over. They're not paying attention to, or they're just saying like it's Timmy bait or you'll never flip it and it's win more, the flipping of it anyway, and who cares about all that? But I think people are honestly just concentrating too much on the back half. If you just like somehow get this into play, and people for some reason have forgotten that you can like reanimate stuff in this environment, but if you reanimate this, I just imagine that you definitely win the game. Like, if they deal with your Italy, they have to deal with the other stuff you got out of it. If they deal with the other stuff, they still have to deal with the giant flyer. So, you know. I see this card being really good. I don't get why more people aren't talking about it. I really want to play with this guy. Number 4 is Borbor Himos. Is that correct? Borbor Himos and Fibblethip. I know I'm saying his name right, even though it technically looks harder to pronounce. It's actually a contest. Which name is harder to say? Now, just like Invasions, I also told myself that I could only put 3 of these guys on the list, like the legendary mashups that we've seen from the set. And you may know that we're already at number 4, so I'm like pretty excited about some of these, obviously. And honestly, this could have been anything. This could have been like Hitotsugu and Kairi or something like that. It could have been Baral and Kari Zev. And both of those that I've just mentioned, I think are like probably more powerful cards than this. Very likely, you know, Baral and Kari Zev looks like it looks like problematic, you know. But this looks a little bit more on the safe side, which makes me like it. And it's also teamer. And like, when's the last time we saw an honest teamer like beat your face in deck? You know, it's been a while. Last time we saw teamer, it was like Lucky Clover and Wilderness Reclamation, and just decks that give teamer a bad rap is like the most annoying color combination ever. I remember there was a time when we had Savage Knuckleblade and teamer would just hit you. Huge dude your opponent has to deal with, or it crushes their nose. Combined with a card draw, so even if they deal with it, it replaced itself. Combined with it, might kill one of their guys. Like, oh, that's really good. And even if they are able to deal with it, just a couple of mana puts it right back a third from the top of your library, because that's what Fibblethip does, right? So if they can point a removal spell at it, you'll have to deal with that again later. And I'll also draw another card again later, by the way. Hope I don't have enough lands and stuff to kill one of your guys again. That would be tragic. So, like, you know, this seems like a ridiculous headache. And a combination of a bunch of abilities that tend to be very good. And it's very teamer, isn't it? Huge guy, card draw, kill a dude. Like, how more teamer can you get? None more. Number 3 is Voldaren Thrillseeker. I cannot wait to get my dirty, nasty little mitts on Thrillseeker, dude. There's so many cool things you can do with this. Just in current standard, I mean, you might have to leave some mana up. Like, you play this on turn 4. Seems a little bit slow because you have to have mana open and all that, but I kind of also just don't care. Like, mechanized production is a card that exists, so that boosts the damage from this, right? Being able to just throw even like a Phoenix chick at them when this comes into play and then get the Phoenix chick out of your yard. Ditto Squee, you know, you can throw this into play, put the backup on Squee, attack with him, get the +1/+1 counter, and then whether he gets blocked or not, like just sack the Squee and then bring him back next turn. That seems like pretty good, you know. We just saw too that new Phoenix. You can put a counter on that and then sacrifice it and then play with fire your opponent and still have maybe the mana to bring the Phoenix back from your graveyard and attack the same turn you sacked it. There's so many stupid tricks with this dude that I want to try like so bad. So I just think this is so much better than it looks, and I can't wait to try and prove that. This is a little bit of a sleeper. This one, a little bit. Now, by process of elimination, at least if you've been listening closely enough to the video, and if you have been, thank you very much. Appreciate you. You'll know these last 2 cards are going to both be legendary mashup dudes because I can't help myself. I'm fanboy at heart, and I'm just really excited to play with some of these. I might as well tell you that number 2 is Zergo and Ojutai. Zerg-Jutai. There's just like, I've tried over and over. There's just no way to combine these 2 words to make it form one elegant sounding word. It just sounds ugly every time. But anyway, this is a sweet card, man. I actually think this is like obscenely disgusting, just very powerful, just repulsively a powerful magic card. This card is just kind of self-explanatorily quite good, even though I'm not sure that its stats quite hold up for its mana cost in current standard. I do think that its abilities make up for any deficiencies it might have in the PT department. So just can't wait to play it. Jeskai is a color combination we haven't seen too much lately, and kind of just like Teamer, I'm like, you know, Jeskai has a place. I miss Jeskai, but it just seems like colors that don't have a triome, like a 3-color land right now, just aren't seeing a ton of play. You know, just anticipate +4 damage, plus haste, plus body, plus hexproof, plus blah, blah. I guess it's not too different than a lot of the cards in the set that just do everything. This does everything in a way that like I really, really like. But speaking of doing everything, and a card that I'm probably going to gush about for a second, it's Zimony Dina. I feel like I just covered this in spoiler season, like less than 24 hours ago. But I still want to talk about it. I just want to keep talking about the card. Literally everything the card does are some of my favorite mechanics. Sacrifice a creature. One of my favorite mechanics. Drain the opponent. One of my favorite. Drawing cards. My favorite thing to do in a game of Magic is see more cards. Ramp. Yeah, like I love playing lands. It's like, again, everything the card does, it's like they called me up and were like, hey, what do you want on a Magic card? They didn't do that, amazingly, but they still somehow managed to do that and also put like my 2 favorite characters from Strixhaven on a card. So like, thanks, Wizards. I'm saying that. Credit where credit's due, I guess. But anyway, I know that the card probably isn't amazing. Yeah, there's going to be spikes in the comment section trying to yuck my yum, saying that, like, it's just a 3-mana do nothing. The stats aren't even that impressive in this day and age. You know, it takes, like, you have to do stuff, but it takes so much. You have to draw cards, and you have to have creatures out, and do. And, like, I know that it's set up, and it has summoning sickness, and it doesn't do much the turn of DOTs. And, like, these are things that I have thought about the card. But none of those things keep me from liking the card. We're in a post-Sheoldred age nowadays. You know what I mean? I can like things like Quintorius. I can like things like this because it doesn't, the whole like, oh, it doesn't do anything the turn it comes into play and all that stuff. It doesn't matter anymore. Sheoldred has taught me that none of that matters anymore. And I'm just going to get excited about whatever I want to get excited about. And if I want to get super excited about an ill-advised Sultai Sacrifice shell that plays like Gixie and Puppeteer, because look at how good these 2 play together. Not only do their drain abilities stack up, but you can like use Puppeteer to get back stuff that you sacrifice to Zimony and Dina. It's going to be nice, unless it's probably not going to be nice, but I'm going to try it one way or the other. And like, if I can't make it work in Standard, I'll see you in Brawl, ladies and gentlemen, because I want to play this card really, really, really bad. But anyway, I should probably be done for this one now because I could talk for like 5 more minutes about this card and probably every other card that we talked about so far tonight. But this time I'm going to respect your time because like every spoiler season video so far this year has been like an hour long. So you just don't have time for that. You got stuff to do and loved ones that want to spend time with you. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go. But I will say it's your turn. There's, like I said earlier, there's like 40 cards I could have put on this list, and I had to make some pretty heartbreaking cuts. So there's probably going to be a few things you want to bring up down there in the comment section. Let me know if there's any stuff you're really excited about. You got combos don't nobody know about. You don't have to tell us about your combos. Just you don't have to give them away to the world, although I think we'd like that. But still, just let me know like what you're jacked about getting to play with once the set hits. And also like the video, subscribe so you can join us for the rest of spoiler season if this is somehow your first time seeing my ugly mug. But if this is your first spoiler season with us, again, make sure you subscribe because there's half a spoiler season left. Then we do top 10 sleepers. Then we do top X cards in the set. Probably going to be at least 25 this time around. Then we do deck techs. I spend $5 on the set and see what kind of cool budget stuff we can pick up, and jank on the streams. We have a really good time around here on the channel, so if you haven't subbed yet, make sure you do it. I would like that. It would make me happy personally. But last thing before we get out of here, we got to pick a couch card for the video, and I can't look at whatever it is, so let me kind of get in here and fish around. What did we get this time? I don't even know what this card does. It's a bad one this video, guys. Second video, and it's not a great one. We got Scab Wrangler. It's foil. We got a foil Scab Wrangler, whatever that is. 2 mana, 2/1 human wizard. Tap 3 untapped creatures you control. Tap target creature. That's not very good. Just throw that over there. Anyway, that's all we got for this one, ladies and gentlemen. So just hit me up in the comments section and make sure you tune in, whatever that means, for the rest of spoiler season. I'll catch you cats later. I'm Dem from the Place. Thanks for watching, Wizards. Spread love and be kind.